Just to maybe just to talk about a little bit the pending election, and I think most people accept that if there's a President Biden, that everything won't go back to the way it was 5 years ago or 4 years ago. That some things have changed, regardless of whether it's a Biden or a Trump presidency. Obviously, in President Trump's case, obviously, we know his form over the last 4 years. But a President Biden presidency, what things would likely, would he not reverse? I mean, in other words, some of these trends that you've been describing, are they almost regardless of who becomes president of the United States after the 3rd of or early next year? And would a President Biden just simply kind of be part of kind of this new world that you're describing? Obviously, maybe shaping it in a somewhat different way. But nonetheless, it would be that different world that he would be presiding over. In other words, the trends that you're describing are indeed irreversible, or ones that he will not choose to reverse.
Yeah, that's another excellent question. So the most obvious thing where I think a Biden presidency would be similar to the Trump approach is vis-a-vis China. Biden's positions in the campaign have been much more hawkish than he would have taken 10 years ago, for example. And I think there's now a broad consensus within the American foreign policy community that the United States has to take a tougher line against China on a whole variety of subjects, economically, militarily, and even, I think, with respect to human rights practices. I think the difference between a Biden administration and a Trump administration on China will not be in being more confrontational or taking a tougher stance, but Biden would want to do it much more in partnership with others. I mean, one of the great mistakes the Trump administration made was that they decided to launch this economic rivalry with China at the same time that they were launching trade wars with South Korea, with Japan, with the European Union, and with others. So the United States ended up, in effect, going up against China on its own. It would have been much more effective if we had, stayed in the Trans-Pacific Partnership, worked with Europe, worked with Japan, worked with South Korea, and collectively gone and said to China, you need to alter some of your economic practices. And I think that's likely to be a Biden approach, but it will not be sort of returning to the open embrace of China that you might have seen in the 1990s or before. On other issues, I think it's clear a Biden administration would take that set of transnational issues we were talking about before, climate change, pandemics, some other things, much more seriously, as the Obama administration, in fact, did. There, my concern is that even if they want to do more on those issues, they're going to face lots of opposition from the Republican Party. And so you may have a situation where the administration wants to go in one direction and has trouble getting the Congress, has trouble getting the Senate to go along with them in ways that might be important. Some of that will depend, obviously, on how the election turns out and what the relative balance of power is on Capitol Hill.
Okay, Steve.